You are listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. Once again, this is Movies Till Midnight, and right now we are going to dive right into a movie review first.
That's the theme song.
So, yesterday actually, for the first time, I watched the movie Hereditary by Ari Aster, and honestly, I was genuinely impressed. So going into this movie, there was a lot of mixed reviews. A lot of my friends were saying it wasn't that good, and some of them were saying it was really good. I had to find out for myself, and I can honestly say I was very impressed. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah. What were you impressed by with Hereditary by Ari Aster?
Honestly, one of the things I was most impressed by was how similar it was to Midsummer, which is another movie. And it's honestly, there's a lot of disjointed editing. He uses crying a lot to his advantage, and there's a lot. And he's honestly, what surprised me the most is that he's not afraid to show disturbing images. Like he shows, like I know in Midsummer he shows like a lot of there's a lot of stuff with like exploding heads and beheadings.
A lot of stuff happens in that movie.
I don't want to say a lot without spoiling it, but I will say if you have seen Midsummer, it is very, very similar to Hereditary and vice versa. And I was honestly very, very impressed.
I don't know about you guys, but did you guys see Barbarian?
I saw that.
I don't know what it is with me, but when movies aren't afraid to go gory like that, that's my favorite thing, especially like Barbarian, Tarantino movies, Hereditary.
It's because a lot of movies nowadays are very sanitized. It's not necessarily Disney's fault, but just there's just so much stuff is now trying to be as family friendly as possible to get as much viewership as possible, I guess. So it's a lot more noticeable when something is not afraid to go above and beyond, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it definitely it jumps me out of my seat and it makes me like the movie more.
Mm-hmm.
So
I know
good.
Yeah, I know Ari Aster's next movie, I don't think it has a release date yet, but apparently Joaquin Phoenix is the lead actor in that. And we like Joaquin Phoenix, Oscar winner for what did he win? He won for Joker, right? I think.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
That was a good speech too.
That was a good speech, yeah. I'm looking forward to that. Segues are hard. I don't know.
Speaking of new movies, I watched Disenchanted, which, I'm not gonna say much, but I'm just saying I was super excited. Enchanted was definitely one of my favorite movies when I was a kid. It's about Giselle, I think her name is, she is in New York now and she has to take care of this guy's daughter that he already has through marriage, and she wants just their life to be better, so she moves them out to the country, this suburban area, and is I want my daughter's life to be, I don't know. I just think that it was with Disney Plus new movies, I feel like they have free range to just quote and go, what is it called, reference to other Disney movies, so
call back to their own stuff.
So it was very about 20 minutes in, you're just hit with reference after reference after reference. It's about evil stepmothers, and she lives in an attic, and then there's fairy godmothers, and there's one point where the daughter gets up in the air and there's water splashing behind her Ariel. You're can you be any more I don't know. That's
Welcome
why I
to
hated
Disney
it.
in the 21st century.
There was no originality to it at all. It was literally Cinderella. I just don't.
Yeah. That's interesting. That's not true. I have seen the first Enchanted, not for a long time, and it's not a movie I like very much. I'm also not the demographic for that, so I'm not supposed to like Enchanted. But so I was not really planning on seeing it, but at the same time I also was not really planning on seeing Hocus Pocus 2, which is also
I didn't see that.
A sequel to an older Disney movie. That one's older, I think. And that one got pretty good reviews from what I saw. It sounds like a lot of people liked that one. So I'm kind of surprised that Enchanted 2 Enchanted 2 Electric Boogaloo is not getting stellar reviews.
I'm upset because I love the first Enchanted movie,
Yeah?
and I was really looking forward to this one. And the fact that Ella told me that it's not good kind of hurts my feelings a bit.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel it's I like the love story in the first one. There's not really a love story in this one, except for Cinderella has to get the prince at midnight.
Mm-hmm.
There's no originality to it at all.
How many of the... I know Amy Adams is in it, obviously. She's the main one. Did anyone else come back from the... I don't remember who else was in the first one.
pretty much.
Patrick Dempsey.
Yeah, like the animated Prince is back, and then the guy from New York, and the daughter was casted because she's a little too old. So.
Because they waited like 20 years to make a movie. Yeah. So I'm going to break off a little bit. I'm not going to talk about a movie, but this was actually while I was actually about getting ready to walk over to the studio tonight, this story broke, and I figured this is some pretty important movie news. So the CEO of Disney got fired. So that's pretty big. Yeah, Bob Chapek has been in charge since 2020, replacing Robert Iger. And Robert Iger is replacing Chapek now. He's coming back. They invited him back. Right now, it doesn't look like the reason is 100% clear. It sounds like Chapek was only supposed to be in charge for 2 years, and for some reason they're not renewing his contract, but the reason for that is not entirely clear as of now. So it's going to be very interesting seeing what kind of change-ups that's going to bring.
What was he in charge of?
The whole company.
Like the movies?
The entire company, the entire brand.
Hopefully it gets better.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. See, Iger was the one who he took charge in the 2000s, so he's responsible for I think probably the original Enchanted, like it's probably the start of the live action remake thing, and then again, it's not entirely clear why Chapek's leaving. Or is being forced out, I guess. So it's going to be very interesting seeing how that, what happens there. Yeah, so that I just thought was very interesting, because I literally was just checking my newsfeed as I was about to walk out the door, and I saw that, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. That's not every day you see the CEO of the biggest company on the planet get fired. Huh, what do you know? Yeah. So that's pretty much it with that as of right now. Yeah.
So our friend Andrew, who sadly couldn't be with us today, saw on Twitter that Tarantino said that the current movie era is one of the worst in Hollywood. Now, do we agree with that? Do we disagree with that? I kind of agree and disagree at the same time.
Yeah, I see his point, I think. But also, I don't entirely agree. But what are your guys' thoughts? I just rambled for like 2 straight minutes.
I don't know. Let me look up, it's like I feel like there's a lot of new movies I like, but then there's I think it's just Disney in general. I think just like Disney is just like irking me right now, because it's like they're babying all their movies, like Thor: Love and Thunder, and like Disenchanted, and like I don't know. I just like that's what gets me, and that's probably like I don't know. Hold on.
From what I remember from that tweet, I remember seeing a lot of Marvel pictures go along with that tweet. So I'm thinking that comment was kind of an attack on the MCU specifically. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, this is his exact quote apparently is, even though the 80s was the time I probably saw more movies in my life than ever, at least as far as going out to movies as far as I was concerned. I do feel that 80s cinema is, along with 50s, the worst era in Hollywood history, matched only by the current era.
I think it's also because like there's a lot more rules when it comes to movies now, which some are good, like having women in movies a lot more, and what is it, being inclusive? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like just with the new rules comes also cheesy movies that appeal only to like a smaller
the industry, because there are a ton of really good movies that have come out recently. I know the I guess the 2020 Oscars were like, you had Jojo Rabbit, The Lighthouse, Parasite, Knives Out, like a ton of movies that are all really good all came out that year. But at the same time, just the stuff that gets the most headlines is, oh, they're remaking The Little Mermaid now, or oh, we're getting the 50th Avengers movie this year, kind of thing, and it is kind of going overboard. So I do understand his point. I to an extent agree.
Yeah, and then I also saw, I think on a TikTok, maybe talking about this exact quote from Tarantino, where it was like, I think that this is the era where superhero movies are going to die out. I feel like there's way too many. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, I've followed Marvel for a couple years now, and it's just like there's too much to watch. Like I can't watch every single show that comes out. I'm like, I don't think this is good.
Yeah,
like,
again, we're gonna do one of these days. We're just gonna do like a giant deep dive into the MCU at some point. Maybe over multiple. I don't know. We'll get there when we get there. But yeah, it's at the point where there's just too much to even make it enjoyable to watch anymore.
I think going through this list right now, like there's like, movies like, oh god, Nope was good. Like I feel like people are like being very much more creative nowadays, which I would disagree on like his quote that way. But then there's also just some cheesy movies out now. So it's like a 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely agree with Marvel, though. Marvel's going downhill.
Yeah. I will say, in defense of the current era of movies, I will say that I think, especially now with like COVID and everything, which kind of forced everyone to kind of do stuff their own way, I do think it is a lot easier for people to make their own stuff and like get their names out there and stuff like that because of the way that they kind of forced everything kind of had to be forced digitally and online. So I do feel like it did make it easier in that way. So I do think we will be seeing an influx of stuff soon, hopefully, of like new names and stuff. We're already kind of getting a lot of new names. Like A24 is giving us a lot of, really good original stuff. There's just too much remakes and Marvel and Disney and all that fun stuff.
So, Bradley Cooper, we know him best from A Star is Born, The Hangover, American Sniper. He's set to star as Frank Bullitt in Steven Spielberg's next film, and the film will supposedly not be a remake, but instead an original Bullitt story. I personally did not hear about this until Andrew told us about it, but honestly, I'm interested in seeing how this plays out for Bradley Cooper.
Yeah,
I like Bradley Cooper.
I do too. He's never, and out of everything I've seen him in, he's always done a really good job. So I can only imagine it's going to be the same story here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that kind of goes off of Marvel because he's in Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah. What else was he? He's in the Hangover movies. Those are funny.
Oh, he's got that one.
Silver Linings Playbook.
Why am I blind? Star is Born. I didn't like that movie, but he was in that.
Yeah, I don't like either. Limitless.
Yeah. He's good. I like Bradley Cooper a lot. He seems like a chill guy. Yeah.
Speaking of new movies, Magic Mike Last Dance.
What a segue.
You know what? Like, I haven't seen any of the movies, but after watching that trailer just now, like, makes me want to watch it. It looks like he is in love with this girl. I don't remember who she's in. Eternals.
The bad Marvel movie.
I love Eternals. Okay, end it. She's in Eternals. I don't know what's her name. Oh gosh, she was the.
Even if you say
Salma Hayek.
Who lived in the cabin. She lived in the cabin.
Salma Hayek.
Yeah, she's in it,
and
she's in love with Channing Tatum, and she brings Channing Tatum to, London. And he starts like his whole Magic Mike thing there in London. He becomes like a mentor. Super cool.
I can't believe we're still getting Magic Mike movies in the year of 2022.
I think it's inspiring. Make your own way in life. Channing Tatum, you got this.
Channing Tatum is the funny man. He just seems like a funny man.
He never ages. I feel like he looked the exact same.
Yeah. Yes.
Like, what happened? Well, what did I watch? I watched 22 Jump Street the other day because we're in college now, and he was good in that one, so you know what?
I haven't seen either. That's a blind spot for me. I need to watch both of them.
They're so.
I've heard they're very funny.
They're very
I need
good.
to watch them at some point. I just have not gotten around to it for some reason, and I really don't know why. Because they're always available somewhere. Like it keeps bouncing back and forth between HBO and Netflix. So I'll watch it at some point.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll watch it tomorrow. Who knows?
All right, so I was gonna start with I don't know if anybody's into The Witcher. Have you guys seen The Witcher?
No, I haven't. Actually.
Okay, so apparently it's a video game, but I just started it because it looks cool and it has Henry Cavill who plays Captain. Oh my god, I was about to say Captain America. That's so sad. He plays
Superman.
Superman.
One of the most iconic
so
superheroes on the face of the earth.
He plays Superman in The Witcher. He does a really good job. It's about The Witcher's kind of like a monster hunter. You know, I stopped Game of Thrones. I was having a Game of Thrones like kind of withdrawal, so I was like, I need to watch something kind of medieval, and it's like in a medieval time, but like in a different universe where there's these giant monsters, and the Witchers fight the monsters for the people. they're making a movie now called Blood Origin. It has Michelle Yeoh, who is in Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is good for her. I love that she's getting out there. She was really good in that one.
The movie that was in, like, I think at least 2 of our 4 top 10 lists.
She's a really good actress. But then also, speaking on The Witcher, the TV show, it's on Netflix. If anybody wants to watch it, super good. But
that is not a call to action.
Oh,
that is just
sorry.
just a hint that
that's a hint that it's
had an interest in it.
It's on Netflix.
The option is available for you
on Netflix. Henry Cavill plays the Witcher in that one, but he's being recasted with Liam Hemsworth because I'm guessing that he's going to play Superman again.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, is there a reason for that, or like?
I think that he probably just doesn't have time. It took them a while to come out with the 3rd season, and I think it's just like, you know, the overlapping of the movies and stuff, and they're probably just like, let's get this show on a road. Like, we can't keep waiting on
Unfortunately, the key thing I remember Henry Cavill for is that one shot in the Justice League movie where they had to badly CGI his mustache out, and it's very noticeable.
Oh yeah.
Right. That just. Maybe just that, yeah, but he seems, that's
Drew in our doc apparently has written that Ryan Reynolds wrote a full Deadpool Christmas movie that hasn't been made yet.
Yeah, Andrew's not here in case you didn't realize that, but he's adding things to our doc, so I don't know what exactly this means.
Does anybody know when the Deadpool Wolverine is coming out? Is it 2023?
I read about it, but I
2024.
2024?
Yeah.
No. Wolverine's got to be my favorite X-Men. I don't know.
November 8th, 2024.
Have you guys seen all the X-Men?
I've seen a good chunk of them. Maybe not all of them, but I've seen a lot
It's
of
really
them.
a hit or miss. Really is.
I missed Wolverine.
Yeah. The only one that I would watch again probably is Logan.
Yeah.
Honestly. Which kind of goes into something else that I'm going to... Wait, hold on. Andrew's adding again. This would be so funny. Yeah,
it would be Deadpool
yes, it
Christmas
would.
movie.
Thank you, Andrew.
Oh wow!
But since we are on the topic of superheroes, I did want to mention that Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, which only came out last week, has passed $500 million at the worldwide box office.
Wow,
that is pretty impressive considering the fact that the main character has passed away.
Yeah. You know what is also really impressive about that is that it made over $500 million. And I think a few weeks ago, the entire box office, like the top 10 of the box office, was like barely 50 million altogether.
Yeah.
So like, that's pretty phenomenal. I mean, it's Marvel, so I'm not really shocked, but yeah, Andrew keeps adding things, thinking that we're gonna see them immediately.
And I love how he's also aware that there is a delay. There's a 7-second delay, and he's still doing it. Which makes it funnier.
Yeah. So yeah, speaking of Marvel, Bryce, do you want to take this one, seeing as your name is next to it also?
Yes, I do. So Chris Hemsworth, actually, unfortunately, he announced a few days ago that he's taking a break from acting after he found out that he had a rare genetic makeup that increases his risk for Alzheimer's disease. When I heard this, I was so sad because, like, let's be like, it's Thor. Like, it's actually Thor. Like, this is so heartbreaking. And, like, the fact that this is the possibility that, like, we may never have another Thor movie or see him in another MCU movie again is just heartbreaking to me.
Yeah. He's, how old is he? He's, like, in his 30s, I think, right?
I think he's might be almost 40.
He's like 38 years old.
Yeah. We looked this up the other day when we saw this originally. Yeah, this is really sad. I hope this isn't something that he really has to worry about for a long time. Hopefully this is something that just doesn't even happen. I hope he gets lucky. But
apparently,
this is really sad.
Like I was talking to my mom about this, and she's like, you know, if you just keep your brain active, there's ways to prevent it as best as he can. So I think just like acting and script reading in general will help him in his case.
Yeah.
I remember seeing in an interview after I found out about this, it was on a post on Instagram, someone quoted him saying that, like, because he found out about this, like, all he wants to do now is just spend time with his family and spend time with his kids, because he's genuinely afraid that he's going to lose his memory. And that's crushing to hear, honestly.
Yeah, that is really, that just, it's I'm going to get metaphysical for a second here. It is just, it's shockingly, like, it's same as when Chadwick Boseman died like 2 years ago, right? It's like, it's these actors play like such larger than life, such like strong, powerful characters, and it's like, you know, they're not immune to real life things. It's like a kind of a shock, almost, you know, because they're so ingrained as like, you know, you see Chris Hemsworth, hey look, it's Thor.
Yeah.
That's cool, you know, but it's like, no, he's a real person, you know. I hope he's able to battle this, and I hope he turns out okay, honestly. I really do.
Yeah, I agree with that. Sometimes you forget they're also human beings, and it does come as a shock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I also found out Indiana Jones, they're coming out with the 5th movie.
Yeah.
Danny, do you want to tell us
I have
about this
a
one?
lot to talk about with this one. So, the last Indiana Jones movie, the 4th one, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, came out in 2008. So it's been a long time since we've gotten a new one of these. And since then, a lot of things have happened. Disney bought the rights to it. George Lucas stepped down as in charge of Lucasfilm, the company that owns the Indiana Jones rights, or did, I guess, because now Disney owns them. So they've been talking about making this movie for a long time. There were rumors that... I remember there was a rumor that Chris Pratt was going to be the new Indiana Jones for like a little bit, and then eventually Harrison Ford, the real Indiana Jones, who's been playing the character for the better part of 40 years now, or I think over 40 years at this point, decided to come back. This is going to be okay. Let me back this up for a second. So there have been a ton of delays. This movie was supposed to come out in 2019, and then it got delayed to 2020, and then it keeps getting pushed back for, you know, first there was COVID, and then I feel like someone got hurt on set or something like that, and they had to push it back. Regardless, the movie has had a very troubled history up to this point, and the rumor mill has been absolutely flying about what it's going to be about, everything like that. But the other day, I think it was Friday, the first still images from the movie, as well as a plot synopsis, has finally officially been revealed. Obviously, we can't show you guys what the pictures look like because this is an audio-only format. No trailer yet, but the plot basically is going to have the very old, like 80-something-year-old Indiana Jones is going to be fighting bad guys who have infiltrated NASA in 1969, who are trying to stop the space race or something from happening. Which, I mean, seeing that the last movie had aliens too, I mean, they found the Holy Grail or something in one of those. So, like, he's gone after some very unusual things before. So I'm very curious to see how it's going to turn out. This also is the first movie in this series that is not going to be directed by Steven Spielberg. I think he's producing it, but he's not directing it because he has other projects lined up. Instead, the director is James Mangold, who is behind Logan, which we already talked about, Ford versus Ferrari. So he has a very good track record, so I think that they're in the right hands. The cast list, Harrison Ford, obviously. Mads Mikkelsen's going to be the bad guy. He was in one of the James Bond movies. Phoebe Waller-Bridge is going to be apparently his goddaughter, I think. And Antonio Banderas is going to be in it. Toby Jones is going to be in it. So what do you guys think? Do you guys have any thoughts on this?
I have a quote actually from Chris
really?
Pratt here, saying that I don't know if you guys but I just thought about it. I forgot about this. He says, I saw a quote once from Harrison Ford that, you know, Harrison said, "When I die, Indiana Jones dies." So he's like, "Am I gonna get haunted by the ghost of Harrison Ford once he dies if I play him?" So he was just kind of like, you know, he doesn't want to
kind
run on
of
that.
You good?
I just dropped my phone.
Yeah, kind of off of that, Disney did say that this is going to be the last one because I know composer John Williams is retiring, I believe, after this thing. I think this is going to be his last movie. There's a lot of rumors that Harrison's going to be possibly retiring after this, but then he also just got cast in a Marvel movie, so who even knows? But yeah, also Andrew said that he is, quote, super excited. So
He also said that Indiana Jones better not go to the moon.
Yeah, I
like
hope
Fast
that
and the
doesn't happen.
Furious, you know?
Yeah, I do kind of hope that doesn't happen. But at the same time, he's gone to some other very unusual places and seen some very strange things in these movies, so I would not be super surprised. I'm also like one of only 5 people on the planet who actually liked Crystal Skull, so like maybe I'm not the best person to be judging, but I'm cautiously optimistic and I'm very excited. I think that's currently set to come out in the summer of 2023. I would say to take that with a grain of salt. However, the fact that we're actually getting promotional stuff for it now, along with Mangold actually hinting that the trailer is on its way soon.
Wow.
Actually, off the trailer, apparently at D23 or something like that, one of the Disney expos, they played the trailer, but it has not yet been released on the internet. So I think it's definitely coming. It's on its way. No title yet. No trailer yet, but yeah, I'm very excited for that when that eventually comes out. Yeah.
And when we had break, Ella was actually mentioning something about Harry Potter. Do you want to talk about that for a little bit?
Well, I haven't really seen much about it, but when I was like looking for stuff to talk about today, I saw that Warner Bros. Was talking to the writer of Harry Potter. Look, I can't think of names today. What's her name? J.K. Rowling.
J.K. Rowling.
I'm so sorry.
Oh no.
I don't know. Okay, so
J.K.
Warner Bros. Was talking to J.K. Rowling about making new Harry Potter movies because are they finished with the Fantastic Beasts?
What was happening last that I heard with the Fantastic Beasts things was it got leaked that Warner Brothers basically gave her an ultimatum that if the movie was not a success at the box office or on HBO Max, they were just completely cutting it. And it flopped pretty bad at the box office.
Happened.
But that was also during COVID, and I don't know what the streaming numbers were, so I don't know if they're going forward with a fourth
I
one.
recently, like with my sister, like watched all of the Fantastic Beasts back to back, and they actually just like kept getting worse. Like I
like
like
the first one.
The first one was really great
Because it's not like a Harry Potter. It's just,
Interesting.
it's in the series, but it's not like, it's in the world, but it's not a thing. And then they got stupid really quickly.
Yeah,
I didn't even finish that. I couldn't even finish the third one.
Didn't they also
halfway through.
change the villain every single time?
Yeah, it was Colin Farrell in the first one, and then they recast him with Johnny Depp, and then because of the Johnny Depp Amber Heard stuff, they dropped him immediately for some reason, even though, you know, we all know how that situation turned out. And then in the new one, it was Mads Mikkelsen, actually. Wait a minute.
Yeah, that made it a little confusing. And I wrote here that in Crimes of Grindelwald that there was many plot holes. Yeah. So I was very confused.
Mm-hmm.
And then Secrets of Dumbledore was, you know, I don't know.
I don't know which one was worse, because I feel like Crimes of Grindelwald was probably worse as a movie, but at the same time, Secrets of Dumbledore was so crushingly boring that I couldn't finish it. I literally got halfway through and I was like, I'm not doing this.
I feel like they definitely should have just like made it more clear. I don't know. I just feel like it didn't like blend easily into like the first Harry Potter, like for me, like with Dumbledore. Like I don't know. He just never mentions any of this stuff.
Yeah, they clearly are eventually going to lead to that if they kept making the movies, but I don't know if they're actually making any more of these movies. I don't think they
should, to be honest.
Yeah, no, honestly, they should have just done the first one and then dropped it, if anything. It's also really surprising that they're going back to JK after they kind of distanced themselves from her because of some very controversial Twitter posts. So it's interesting that they're going back to her because they did kind of, again, they dropped Johnny Depp immediately. You know, so that's very interesting if they are going forward with that.
Did they do a movie for the Cursed Child?
There's a musical for it.
Yeah, it's the Broadway show. I don't know if
they'll probably do a movie for that.
I would see a movie of that before I watch another Fantastic Beasts movie.
Yeah,
honestly, I don't really remember the Cursed Child at all. We're here at Books Till Midnight, by the way. I don't really remember. I never saw it. I read the script for it because they sold that as like a book. I was going to go see it, and then COVID happened, so I never actually got a chance to go see the show. I've heard it's really phenomenal though, but I don't really remember that much about the plot.
And since we were on the topic of Despicable Me, which was themed off of that, Ella, you want to tell us about that?
Well, Danny brought this up. Me working at AMC, you know, when the whole Minions Rise of Gru came out, it was funny on TikTok. You know, you see people coming in suits. Like, oh my gosh, that is so funny. I'm like, would people actually do that though? Like around here? Yes. Everybody came in suits. And I was just like, you know, it was funny, right? And then people would come up to buy tickets, and I'm like, what movie are you seeing? And they're like, I don't know, Jurassic Park. I'm like, no, you guys are all wearing suits, like obviously they're I just have like a problem. Like I don't know, I had a problem with it. And then like, oh, can I tell a horror story?
Do it.
When Elvis came out, It was it was opening night, and one theater we were playing Elvis in, broke. It broke. So it's just like we couldn't play Elvis, and we had to tell every single person who walked through the door that like Elvis wasn't playing on the thing, and we can give them a refund or like a free to see the free movie next time, or whatever. So yeah, it's inconvenient. It happens all the time. And so this old guy comes in with his friends, dressed up like Elvis. He's in the full getup, wig. He had the white jumpsuit on with all the rhinestones. He's singing Hound Dog, coming in singing Hound Dog, and me and my coworker are like, "I'm so sorry, but like the Elvis movie isn't working," and he just continues singing Hound Dog. I think he thought we were lying because like he came in the full getup. It was probably the worst experience I've had working there. Telling Elvis he couldn't see his own movie.
I remember that happened when like the movie wasn't playing. I think I was going to see Coco or something, 2017. When that, I don't remember, whenever that came out. And I remember that because I remember we had to get the free tickets thing, and they gave us free tickets to see like whatever the new Star Wars movie was or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that opening weekend, and we were like, "Oh, great, thanks."
Yeah, it's
Thanks, I will.
I always worked box office, so things would happen like that. Like when the Sonic, we would play Sonic a day before, and the one theater everyone's so excited, and the movie just wouldn't turn on, and I had to sit there and give out like 100 refunds.
Wow.
Working at AMC is something different. There's so much happens.
It lets you feed the Batman addiction.
Oh yeah, I saw the Batman. Oh my gosh, I can't remember names. What's his name?
Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson. Look, like this is bad. So, Robert Pattinson. I saw the new Batman with Robert Pattinson like I think 8 times. Bad.
Have I seen it times in that short amount of time? Because that's 1 month. Or
yeah, I saw it. I think like maybe twice a week at one point. The guy one time.
And this is willingly.
Yeah, willingly. I mean, I loved it every time, and I would go to the bathroom like during the scene when the everything blew up and it was like flooding, because that seems just the most boring part.
No, you know what the most boring part was when there's Alfred in the hospital, where it's like just 3 minutes of like.
But that breaks my
I never
heart.
told you, and then it has nothing. He could
Because he
I
was so mean to him. I mean, he was so mean
That's
to him,
true.
and he was just like, "Oh my gosh, I'm
Andrew, what are you adding
Yeah.
now? All right.
Well, as we know, the holidays are coming up. Christmas time is coming up, and this is the time we see Home Alone. What other Christmas movies?
They made a Home Alone last year. They made a new.
Then made another Home Alone.
There's like 6 Home Alone movies.
Oh, sure, you see.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I've watched the original 2 and then the new one, and it's not good.
There's so many that come to mind. We got the Home Alone, Polar Express, Christmas Story, and the reason why I bring up Christmas Story is because they actually made a new one recently, right? But I haven't seen much about it. But Danny, I think you know a lot.
So yeah, this was something, a lot of movie people, right? We have Letterboxd, which is an app where basically it's social media but for movies, kind of. That's really the best way to describe it. And I'm just scrolling through just a random list of upcoming movies, and I see A Christmas Story Christmas with an actual poster trailer release date. And I'm like, what is this? So yeah, this completely flew under my radar, which is really weird because this is like one of my favorite Christmas movies. Yeah, they made a sequel to A Christmas Story. I think we all know that, right? It's Ralphie, the kid with the glasses. He's got the leg-shaped lamp, the BB gun, all that iconic Christmas imagery. Yeah, they made a second one. This is the second time that they've made a sequel to A Christmas Story. They made one back in the I don't remember when, a while ago, which is absolutely horrible. One of the worst things I've ever seen in my entire life. So, but this one is actually getting pretty good reviews from what I've seen. Rotten Tomatoes, IMDb, like it actually seems to be getting pretty good. They got as many of the original cast members back as they could. Peter Billingsley is back as the main character, Ralphie. I don't think any of the adults are back because, the original movie is like 40 years old, so I don't know if any of them are in the movie. I don't know how many of them are still alive. But, yeah, I am definitely looking forward to that. I'm going to watch that over break. I think it's on HBO Max right now, actually. Yeah, so I am excited for that. So...
Bryce, do you want to read what Andrew just wrote?
I have no idea what
Yeah.
Andrew just wrote.
Yeah.
He says he is super excited for Furiosa because he loves Mad Max Fury Road, directed by the director of Happy Feet.
Really?
That's not
Do
a
you wanna-
joke.
Yeah.
He won an Oscar for Happy Feet and not for Mad Max Fury Road.
What?
Yep.
Happy Feet.
Anyway, Furiosa
Anya?
star.
Anya Taylor-Joy?
Yeah. Recently teased a very. I'm quoting from Andrew's thing here, so whatever. This is entirely his thing. Teased a very bloody Mad Max prequel movie. George Miller returns to direct the fifth entry in the franchise, a spin-off of the critically acclaimed post-apocalyptic non-stop action film Mad Max Fury Road. The actor claimed filming the movie left her the bloodiest she has ever been on any set in her career, a feat she's rather proud of. Interesting thing to want to brag about, Anya.
She's done pretty crazy movies.
She's I like her. She's in a movie right now. I think The Menu. I think
She's phenomenal.
with
She can do
Ralph Fiennes.
anything.
Yeah. What else is she in? She's in The Witch, The Northman,
Split.
Playmobil
Oh
the
wow,
movie.
she was in Split. She was in same guy who did Last Night in Soho.
So yeah.
Last Night in Soho, right. What did we think of Last Night in Soho? This is very
I
off
didn't
topic,
see
but
it. I saw the ending.
I love Last
Really?
Night in Soho.
Really?
I love Last Night. Well, it's because I like Edgar Wright. So
Yeah.
I do too. He's like one of my favorite directors, but even I did not like it very much.
I liked it just mostly because of the colors.
That's true. It did actually have the coloring was actually pretty.
I
pretty
love
good in
that.
Yeah.
That's one of those movies I can watch over and over
Yeah.
and over again.
Yeah. The reason I didn't like it is because it didn't feel like an Edgar Wright movie. Like at all.
Yeah.
Like it did kind of feel like any director. Like even like Baby Driver kind of had a similar problem, but like even then it was like, oh, there's bits and pieces here. It's like, oh yeah, Edgar Wright made this movie. You know, that movie is I also am not a huge Baby Driver fan, but I do like it a lot more than Soho. I need
Scott
to rewatch.
Pilgrim.
I
So,
love
Scott
Baby-
Pilgrim's great.
It's better than all of them.
Scott Pilgrim's great. Shaun of the Dead's great. Hot Fuzz is great. World's End is great.
I must say, Scott Pilgrim is very comic booky.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch it,
Yeah.
it's very good.
That's gotta be one of my favorites. I can't believe I put that on my list.
Apparently that's based on like an actual comic. Apparently.
Yeah.
Which I haven't read because I'm an uncultured swine. But
And I follow the original artist on Instagram. He's very cool.
Oh yeah, does he follow you back?
No, I wish.
What are you telling me this?
I'm sorry. He's cool.
Yeah. So yeah, we probably have time for like one or two more things. We have like 5 minutes left before Moves Till Midnight gets to midnight. That was horrible.
Should
I
we
apologize.
say new movies that we watched recently?
Yeah. What else do we want to talk about?
You do have a movie review.
I do, yeah. I was gonna talk about this one last week, but then I didn't because Black Panther came out and we had our top 10 lists to go through. But I saw Tar with Kate Blanchett. I guess that was last week, 2 weeks ago at this point, whatever. And it was really, really, really good. It was very dialogue heavy, but it had some really great. The cinematography was really good. She is fantastic. I think she's probably gonna get an Oscar nomination, if not a win. Honestly, anything to take away from Ana de Armas probably getting the Oscar. Jeez. That's my prediction.
Blonde.
She's gonna get an Oscar for Blonde, or a nomination at least. That's my prediction. I'm calling it right now.
Yeah.
Watch as that gets proven wrong in like 2 months when the nominations come out. It was really good. It's very much so like a psychological, like rise and fall story kind of thing. So if that's something you're interested in, I would recommend Tar personally. It was really good.
Are you? I don't want to interrupt you.
How similar?
What?
How similar
I'm sorry.
is Tar from Whiplash? Like, is it kind of like the same
I would
type of idea?
say, there's parts that are similar. There's one scene in particular pretty early on that's similar. I guess I actually have not thought about this really at all. I'd say there's parts of it that are reminiscent of Whiplash, but it's not like, oh, this is the same movie kind of thing. I will say if it was really good watching it in theaters because like the whole thing is like about like orchestras and stuff like that, which like I'm not a big classical music guy, so maybe I'm a bit out of my depth, but like the bigger speakers and like the bigger screen and everything made it really cool like watching that. So that is the most recent new movie I think I watched. That sounds about right.
Recently Variety came out with their predicted nominations. Should I list those off?
Let's list off a couple possible nominations.
So The Fabelmans, the new Steven Spielberg movie.
That's gonna get
definitely gonna sweep somehow. The Banshee of Irish Hern, right?
I haven't seen. I
one
I don't know how to
has,
pronounce it.
It has Colin Farrell. Look, I remembered a name. I love Colin Farrell, so I feel like that one would be also gorgeous. The photos look gorgeous.
I feel like I will say on the topic of Colin Farrell, I really hope that of all the Oscars, I really hope Batman gets like a Best Makeup nomination or something like that, because like Colin Farrell's makeup as Penguin,
that was
that's
really
he's
good.
unreal. I forgot it was him for like
I
like
did
the beginning,
too.
like
It doesn't
halfway
even,
through,
like-
I was like, oh, whoever this is really good. And I was like, wait, it's Colin Farrell. Wait a minute.
I feel like I didn't even like really like if you didn't tell me, like I wouldn't have known. Like he doesn't sound like him. Like he was
No,
really good
it's a
in
completely different voice, completely different. Yeah.
that. Tar is one. Top Gun Maverick.
That's gonna. I feel like that's gonna get a lot of like the technical like sound.
Yeah.
Is there
There
one
was
for,
also
like, sound?
practical.
Practical, yeah. That's gonna get that kind of stuff. Yeah, cinematography maybe. I
I
don't know.
think I talked about this last, like the first one, Women Talking. I feel like it's gonna be very artsy, like kind of like Nomadland-ish.
Is Avatar 2 on there? I'm sure it is. That something
No,
has to
no.
be. Really?
Everything Everywhere All at Once
Yeah.
at number 6.
I really hope Everything Everywhere All at Once gets
that
Oscar
one needs
noms.
it.
I really hope that gets Oscar recognition.
Elvis, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
We got Emancipation. I don't know if you guys have heard about that with Will Smith.
Yeah, the first movie he's making after the last Oscars.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think the trailer just dropped for that one too.
Interesting.
Living. Never heard of this.
Living? Who's in it, or what is it?
It just
what does
says
it say?
Stephen Woodley, Elizabeth Carlson. No clue. An English language adaptation of the script Ecru from 1952 and set in London in the 1950s.
I've never heard of that.
And then The Woman King.
I've heard of that.
I did too.
Why The Woman King?
I haven't seen it.
I mean, the trailer looked like kind of like
It looked like a Black
Disney-ish.
Panther kind
Yeah,
of
like
thing,
Black Panther, like,
I
kind of
I haven't
style.
had a chance to watch it.
But that's a out of the blue one.
I don't know when the Oscar nominations are set to come out, but that'll probably give us a lot to talk about when that does come out. Just reacting to the nominations, and then obviously when the actual Oscars happen.
They're putting Brendan Fraser for The Whale.
Oh, I wouldn't be
for
surprised.
Best Actor, they think.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But I think Austin Butler.
Yeah, we got a lot to look forward to. So that's going to conclude our show for tonight. Thank you for listening to Movies Till Midnight. This is 90.3 WMSC, Upper Montclair.